Great humility and appreciation, and with a great sense that they belong to my ancestors, especially the women in my family. Thank you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul. Baby! It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's take a moment to thank the good Lord. Going to the throne of grace. Thank you, Lord, for another day, for another week. Thank you for every blessing that you have given us. Thank you for life itself, the ability to see, to think, to hear, to touch, to move around. We know that so many people are without. Somebody woke up in shock trauma. Somebody woke up in central booking. Somebody didn't wake up at all. But here we are one more time in the land of the living. We say thank you, Lord. All right, let's get to the get down. We have with us Attorney Robert DeShield. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, good. We also have the Honorable Danny Blount, Vice Chair of the Baltimore County Democratic State Central Committee. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you both. Hey, Donnie. Good morning, sir.
And live from the polls down in gorgeous Prince George's County, he's taking time away from his campaigning, political consultant extraordinaire out of Cherry Hill, Mr. Irvin Reed. Irvin Bernard Reed, how are you, sir?
Mr. Glover, I'm doing well. Appreciate you. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, all.
Mr. Reed, I know your time is limited. What's it look like out there?
I think it looks good. I'm just out in the street right now, just trying to do some last minute painting of the polls.
Mm-hmm. Wanted to share with you all. Good morning, Andy. How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing, good brothers?
Just in full disclosure, over the weekend we endorsed Kamala Harris. We got that endorsement out there. Who are you endorsing, Mr. Reed?
Who am I endorsing? Oh no, I'm just, I'm neutral. I'm working for Kamala right now. The signs I'm putting up have her and Angela on them. So
you're so coy, Irvin.
What do you mean?
You're deliberate, but not deliberate. You're putting it out there, but you're not putting it out there.
Well, Donnie, I think, you know how I feel that, I just have a philosophy. Being in the game is different. My experience, especially with politics, is a lot different than the average person. So I've seen things that a lot of people haven't seen. And so I tend to support candidates that I believe are going to, stand up when it comes time to stand up.
Throughout the campaign, you have said that she hasn't answered certain questions for you.
This is true.
Well, tomorrow's the big day. You know which way you're leaning? I mean, is it apparent?
Oh, no, I've already voted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share in that regard?
Well, no, I think, look, I'm unlike most people because as a political consultant for 30 years, I've never tried to sway people to vote a certain way as much as I was trying to figure out what it was that they were looking for. And then to see if the candidates that I were working with, somehow their positions met theirs. But I'm not, yeah. So my thing is, I believe this election nationally is going to have a lot to do with where we are as a nation. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I remember when OJ was on trial. And me personally, I wanted to see OJ get off. And that was more about, so basically it wasn't about justice as much as it was with me, as it was showing this nation that what our justice system really was. So I just think this thing has a lot more to do with where the nation is. I think a lot of the commercials and things that I was listening to really weren't talking about people as much as it was talking about racism and this people going to do this, they're going to push you back, they're going to do those type of things. So it is what it is. And, like I say, I spent 30 years trying to, help the public. Now I need to see that I'm not going to be able to make changes politically. So I got another strategy as to what I'm going to do.
Speaking of justice, let's parlay over to our resident attorney. Good morning, Mr. DeShiel. Any thoughts on this election?
Well, as of this morning, Donnie, I think the Republican National Committee, either or its local affiliates, have filed over 120 lawsuits challenging challenging the method by which people are permitted to vote, with the intention of restricting the methods by which people are intended to vote. And I think that's that tells you what this election is really about. Nobody nobody talks about who the Trump supporters really are, or at least like as though they're afraid of. Even Kamala, well, she'll call him a fascist. She might even call him a communist. She'll call him whatever, but she won't call him a racist. She won't talk about the deplorables, if you will. She won't tell you about Steve Bannon or Steve Miller or the Oath Keepers or Proud Boys or the KKK, who constitute his kitchen cabinet, if you will. She won't talk about those things because she's run a race based upon, I suppose, the advice of her handlers, that she doesn't want to offend white voters. Well, she's lost the white voters who recognize what this election is about. She's already lost them. This election is about white supremacy and the role of that white people are supposed to have in running not just this country but the world. And those who think you can keep that a secret, those who think you can kick that can down the road another half mile or whatever it is, are fooling themselves. So I think that's why this election is much closer than what it should be, because I think Kamala's left a whole lot of black votes sitting on the chair arm.
Danny, would you agree? You think Kamala Harris is not paying enough attention to her base? Do you think that she has not realized, or she's not going after the Trumpsters, the deplorables, because they've already chosen? Is she being too nice?
Well, I think it's so far in it that it doesn't even matter at this point. I believe that people know who Donald Trump is. They've known who he is for 8 years. It's just no secret of who this man is. It's just that we have a country that's divided, a racist country, period. And that's just the way things are going to be. I don't see any shifting or changing in any in the philosophy of it, politically or election wise. It is what it is. The truth is out there. Somebody show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Well, it seems to me that he is a very sexually Andy, did you see what this guy in terms of sexual graphics? Special thank you to Alice Toriente. I get a text this morning and she sends me to this video of Trump. This was in the Independent. Trump appears to emulate performing sex act on microphone. Did you see that?
Wow.
Didn't see that. I heard about it. But I didn't even I never really delved into it just because I'm like, okay. But I heard he tried to give a microphone to Gok Gok.
What is that
But
all about, Andy? I mean, isn't that vulgar? Had Obama done something like that, they would have criticized him to no end. They would have said he's not good enough to be in front of our children. And do white mothers want their sons to grow up to emulate this type of behavior? I mean, the decent white moms in America.
the same rules of behavior that apply to Black America does not apply to white America. Their levels, what they consider good, great, and excellent, are two different things. And so, yes, they want their kids to act like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a mediocre, highly successful, mediocre individual. Like he's super rich, but he's just mediocre. He doesn't he it's not like he had to earn that through academics or hard work and sweat or tears. None of that. Everything was so yes, that's what they want for their kids. And like the vulgarity, those are the people who would be criticizing Obama. And so because there's no Obama, if you hear the way they speak about Kamala, like these are the critical people. So what can they say when their person is exemplifying the attitudes and whatnot and examples doing the stuff that they would naturally attack a Black person for. They have to just let it slide. They can't acknowledge it, and that's what they're not doing. They're just not acknowledging it. They're just like, oh, okay, well, this is Trump. We were locked in here with Trump, and we're going hard for Trump.
He's
Why
white.
is that?
Like
Why is that?
White.
Why are they
Why
so
is
locked
that?
in? Why are they so locked into Trump? Why is it that nothing he says or does matters?
Because sexism runs deeper than racism in America. They stopped Hillary because they hate Hillary. They hate the fact that she's a woman. That in my opinion, that was all that was. Because yeah, she messed up, but she messed up with Benghazi, true. But she ain't messed up no more than any other president, vice president, secretary of state, no more than any of them. She just did it on different reasons for different reasons. Now, the thing is that I really believe that there is this is going to come down to womanists versus feminists, right? Because if Kamala wins, she would have done something a white woman can't do. If you remember all of the fanfare when Hillary made it out of the primaries, the breaking the glass ceiling, bip, 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 wearing pussy hats and out of control behavior and this, that, and the other. And they were just dragging the Black women along with them. And you look at right now with a Black woman at the top of the ticket, they ain't doing all that. And I feel like one thing that we're underestimating as Black people when we look at Kamala is that we're not her base. She inherited the Biden base, and that's the base she's been working, trying to get them to lock in with her. If you look at the things that she's doing to bring in the Black community, it's all cosmetic. Hey, let's get Beyonce to come out. Let's get Megan Thee Stallion to twerk on stage. Let's get Cardi B to post a video or I don't even know what Cardi B was doing. Like it's all cosmetic under the guise of bringing in the younger voters. They're not trying to they're not trying to bring over disconnected voters. They're not trying to bring back voters who are disillusioned with the system. They just want that flash in the pan. Because if you notice, they drop all of those things down to the first of all, that Saturday Night Live appearance, freaking brilliance. The timing on that was excellent. Excellent. He dropped it the weekend before the election. No matter what Trump does, no matter how many lawyers he gets, he cannot leverage that equal time rule. Woo! That was brilliant. But if you notice, in October, they were real busy trying to get that flash in the pan. They didn't spend all of this time, this last few time, placating the black community. But I don't think that that's what she's here for. She's trying to be the woman's president. And I get it. Because that in and of itself, right? Like the black woman succeeded where the white woman couldn't.
If you're just joining us, we have an
also got to
all-star
remember
panel
that
today, and it includes Mr. Robert DeShield, Danny Blount, Irvin Reed, Andy Pierre, and Mr. Michael Haney. Some comments. Stephen Jones, well said, Mr. DeShield. Also, folks are skeptical of the two-party system that produced these candidates. Christina Flowers weighs in. Things don't matter a lot to individuals when it comes to our social responsibilities, not just Trump voters. Good morning from Rico Crawley, one of our top fans. Michael Randolph, as always, from Tampa, Florida. And Minister Christina Flowers, again, saying same things that our local black young politicians doing right here in Baltimore City. Also joining us is Mr. Michael Haney. Good, what's the name? 60 Minutes in Black USA. Mr. Michael Haney, executive producer of this station, but also a talent who has brought us live shows from Nairobi, Kenya, and live shows from Dubai. But right now he's live from West Baltimore somewhere. Welcome, Mr. Haney.
Hey, good to be seen. Good to be around all you wonderful political pundits and analysts, man. I'm just sitting back here taking it all in, learning, man, while I'm supporting Kamala.
Yeah, that's it. Wake Up Baltimore. Thank you, Minister Christina.
Yeah, so it's Wake Up Baltimore, 60 Minutes in Black America, a spinoff, a baby of your show, Donnie, and I'm disappointed that you didn't know the correct name, but it's all good, man. I know we're all getting older. But I'm sitting here taking it in.
So much information.
Unbelievable what was said about Biden's. This is a powerful panel. I'm sitting here listening to Andy say, well, Kamala is trying to get Biden's base, and us as black people that vote 80% plus democratically, what base are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? I mean, what base are we? There's no difference in what Kamala gets versus what Joe Biden gets, because black people don't think that way. You know, DeShield has said the two-party system kills us because we only look at one party. If we only look at one party, what do we need another for? What we need is some education politically. We need some political education in terms of what our options and choices are. And I think that that's what DeShield is saying. You know, I mean, it is profound. You talked about what Donald said or what Donald did. Did you hear this tape of the comedian that was highly received by those people? If you don't believe what we're going to get on Wednesday morning, regardless of whether he wins or loses, take a look at that comedian's tape. Do you want to see it, Donnie? I got it to pull up if your people want to see it.
Pull it up.
Because if they want to see what's real, while we sit here and analyze and dissect Kamala, there is no alternative.
And that's
let me run this.
That's right. And that's why Kamala is getting all of those folks that were on the fence, the independents, because of stuff like that in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, but she's not getting them.
You'll see.
It's a flash in the pan. There's no loyalty there.
You'll see.
They're going to become her enemies next election cycle.
Wild times. It really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup. There's some people here. All right. Very good. I like it. I have other policies that I think it should be implemented as well. Like me personally, I think football should be all year round. Yeah. So many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson.
Can I cut this yet?
Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want. All right, heck yeah, it's cool. Black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys
yeah, now you can cut it.
Groany little morning crowd, huh?
Yeah. That's America.
Yeah, this crowd didn't perk up until they started cracking jokes on black people.
Believe them. And there's 70 to 80 million people that like what they hear. So while we think what we're saying on one side is righteous and real, well, why aren't they entitled to have righteous and real on their side? And what does Wednesday morning look like for us as a people? What does it look like? Have we thought about that? I'm taking it personal to see what Wednesday morning looks like for me. I don't know how you feel it looks like for you and what you're going to do Wednesday morning, regardless of the outcome, because whether he wins or loses, and we're talking about the most evil, sinister person I have ever seen in my lifetime, Donald Trump. He's a monster, man. And he only uses media to appeal to the other little monsters out there that love him. It's a show to him. He may not be the consummate racist, but he's using the race card to appeal to the people that don't like you.
Urban Reed, how do you feel about this watermelon stuff, man? Puerto Rico as an island of trash.
Donnie, they're racist white people everywhere. I got racist white friends who probably talk about black people the minute I leave the room. So the problem with politics to me at this point, and this is where Kamala and Trump to a degree, and a lot of people just don't give a damn. I don't care about Beyonce showing up at, it used to be a time, I'm 66 years old, man. When they campaigned back in the day, they talked about issues. What the hell does watermelon have to do with Tyrone being able to read? That's what I care about. What does that have to do with black businesses and all of that? These are the things that never come up. So until people talk about them, you're not getting my vote. I don't give a damn who you are, what side you are, what your party is, and all of that. The only thing I care about, quite frankly, is how do we and how do communities like a Cherry Hill get better? So you don't want to talk about it? Fine. Then you ain't going to get my vote. So I don't care who you are. But this whole thing, we got a comedian over here. We got Megan Thee Stallion, whoever the hell she is, over here, and this, that, and the other. No, talk about the issues. Tired of waking up every time I turn my damn computer on, there's Angela Also Brooks, with baggage. And then finally, she came out with a great commercial. I thought, we got your back. When Westmore ran, no one left behind. We're going to do this for people and do that for people. Talk about people. People want to hear people talking about people. This whole new brand of politics, I'm bringing in celebrities to do this and celebrities to do that. Man, hey, that's on y'all. I need to know, how are we going to have an educational system that works for people and not working for itself?
Danny, out there in Baltimore County, do you think that Kamala needs to have a black moment? Stephen Jones says the fact that Harris doesn't call this out, I would presume he's talking about the watermelon and the Puerto Rico as an island of trash, speaks volumes of her handlers and her commitments. She doesn't talk about issues. I can tell you this, Danny, that I've seen a lot of politicians run statewide here in Maryland, and quite often they get political consultants from other places who come here, and they tend to get their hind parts whipped because they don't know the people here.
Well, that's something she certainly hasn't done. She has been here, and she has been working with the folks out here in this particular area. She's been out here a lot, been talking to the people, been door knocking. So she, from firsthand, from what I know personally, she has been out here and she has been doing the thing. She should have a couple of misfires, but all in all, just Saturday, she was here with Senator Ben Brooks and did the door knockings in the Woodlawn, Randallstown area. So, you know,
who are you talking about?
Angela also Brooks.
So you have an issue out there in Baltimore County where you're looking to expand your county council from 7 members ultimately to 11, so that you're more on par with Montgomery County, with Prince George's County, both populations of nearly 1 million.
Well, you know, that whole situation, Donnie, of course, we all know that if those who haven't heard, it started a couple of years ago with 4 more, vote for 4 more to increase the county council from 7 seats to 11. Of course, back in 57, the population was 350. Now it's going towards 900,000. Each of the council folks had to represent over 127,000 constituents. So, of course, we all know in any business, you got to hire, you get that much, increase in volume. But anyway, it didn't make it. We didn't get the support from the elected officials out here. They came at the 23rd hour. We had 12,000 votes. We weren't able to get past the Board of Elections. They threw out 2,500. So this council person by the name of Izzy Potoka in the 2nd district, he put a work group together. I think it was back in February or maybe a little earlier, because there was so much momentum with 4 more. He knew that they had to do something. So what he did was, a Democrat, what he did was he partnered with 3 Republicans. After the work group came out, they said they're going to use 2. So in order for him to get the supermajority, he had 3 Republicans that signed on with him with the promise that those 2 additional districts would be Republican districts. So that's the monster that happened. But they also added a map to it that guaranteed that for the Republicans. And this is our question ballot right here. This is our question.
Wasn't the map illegal? Isn't it
it's illegal
for the council?
It's absolutely illegal. Maps are never supposed to be drawn by the council, supposed to be done by a work group, always supposed to have community input. And
didn't the ACLU sue for that map not to be accepted?
They have to wait until after the election because it becomes moot if it doesn't pass. So you have to wait until after the election to see if it passes. If it passes, then the ACLU will move forward with their lawsuit.
Didn't also the African Americans or some African Americans try to get a 2nd African American district, but that was rejected, even though it included some Black people going against that? But now you're telling me Republicans are looking to gain in Baltimore County?
If that map goes forward with the bill.
And you also said that the council now is looking to get a full-time salary and pension.
Yes, they are. They have really took advantage of this initiative, and they're saying, well, we've been doing the work of full-time, council folks, so we need to be paid that way. So they bumped their salary up almost 100%, a double. And that's what they are going to receive. They made a sweet deal for them. And those are things people aren't even looking at. You know, very few people understand what's going on and how they sweeten their pockets by this bill moving forward with these 2 additional seats. And Izzy Pataka is the person behind it. And Julian Jones, unfortunately, wasn't at the meeting when this took place, when they voted on it. And so,
Well, you know, Donnie.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Steele.
Let me chime in, because unfortunately, what happened with the petition, I call it the citizen petition in Baltimore County, is unfortunately reflective of our lack of commitment and lack of education as a people. Because when the first of all, the Board of Election Supervisors told the petitioners that in order to make sure you had 10,000 legitimate signatures, you needed to have 15,000 signatures in
Of
total.
course.
That they were clearly told that. Secondly, when the 2,700 names were stricken, I told them that you needed to get an independent party or students or somebody to validate, to determine whether or not those names have been properly stricken. The response I got was, we ain't got no money. Well, look, if you got money to go to the Ravens game, if you got money to go to Ruth Chris, if you got money to go to McCormick and Smith, you ought to put up some money to protect your own livelihood and your own interest. You know, we unfortunately are so accustomed to being given everything, we've forgotten what it means to sacrifice and to work for it. So what Daniel said is correct about the two districts, if it passes and the map is adopted. I don't think it will be. I don't think the map will be adopted. I think we're going to get the two districts out of it, but at least I hope so.
Well, the two districts, I hope so. Great. I think you're right, Mr. DeShield. Any increase in representation in the county level is a plus. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. It's just the map and how the whole thing went down. We started this 2 years ago. Of course, you know Linda Dorsey Walker. 2 years ago, we went to our elected official and said, "You want to make history, Julian? This is what we want to propose. Let's work together." Nothing.
Hey, Donnie, can I chime in a second?
I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead. I got to catch a flight in a bit, man, so I'm going to have to leave. But, you know, what's profound and compelling, we're trying to get the country together, but we don't understand the ballot question in Baltimore City, which is similar to Baltimore County, where white people trying to reduce the number of representation in Baltimore City. You're all trying to expand it. Combined in the geographical area, 1.3 million people, right? 1.4 million people, right? And so where's the conversation going on that there is some support, right? In one jurisdiction, they're reducing representation. You're trying to grow it. And so what's our strategy as a people that we can't deal with it in a regional basis, that we think we can deal with it on a national basis, you know, which is unfortunate because that's what we got to begin to look at. Stuff that's in our backyard that we don't understand, that there's something going on that we're not part of the conversation, which is why they won't expand here, but are going to reduce there, right? It's pretty interesting what's happening, man, and who really controls the decision. But back to something that you had mentioned in terms of the number one issue, Mr. Reed, that's not being addressed, right? Economic disparity, political strife. The number one issue is being addressed in the election on a national basis. The number one issue in this country that has been the number one issue since slavery is racism. I heard Andy say profoundly that sexism is bigger than racism, and my toe fell off. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
You're right.
Are you kidding me? But you know what? I said, well, that's a perspective. Unless you feel racism at a level that's affected you when you're trying to get and go somewhere and you get slammed in the head as a result of racist behavior, right? And the racism happens in the sexism aspect of it because black men aren't being allowed where they'll accept a black woman like they did when they got them pregnant back during slavery. So that's all I've got. There's a lot we could have relative to this conversation that we got to take serious and compare notes. But the real issue that permeates our people in this country is being addressed tomorrow and is the number one issue tomorrow, and that is racism. That's the number one issue. I'll pay $1 for a dozen eggs more than what I'm paying tomorrow, and 50 cents more for a gallon of gas if that racist inciter of injustice isn't elected. If he promises me I can pay less for eggs and gas, I'll pay more if he's not in office any day.
Okay, are you saying that racism only exists in the Republican Party?
No, I'm
No,
not
no, no,
saying
no, no,
that at
no, no,
all.
no, no,
I'm
no, no,
saying
no.
the issue of race is at the forefront of the electorate tomorrow.
Well, I think what he's saying is that if
Okay.
to the extent that we as black people adhere to the notion that our choice is simply between the Republicans and the Democrats, we'll never be free. We'll never escape it. That's part of the trap. Don't you get it? That's
And
that's
that's
part,
it.
that is what keeps us locked in, because both of those institutions are controlled by white men.
Amen, Amen.
So
Amen, Rob.
Without question.
I'm not understanding what about the race. Racism is in every aspect of everything we do.
Let me put it another way. White supremacy. White supremacy is based upon the notion that we are less than human, that we are still 3/5 of a human being. That is the issue that's on the ballot today.
And my point, Mr. Reed, was to what you said until someone addresses the issues. And yeah, issues could be important to us individually that you weren't supporting or voting. You made a comment. Maybe I didn't quote it correctly, but you made a comment that you weren't going to support anyone that wasn't addressing the issues. So you put a plural on that, right? And what I'm saying is that, and I'm not taking anything away from what you said, I think the issue that's affecting me is being addressed, right? On both levels in both parties, and it's racism. Because before we resolve that, all the issues that you may be speaking of that are mitigating to it aren't going to be addressed anyway. It's a fraud out here happening.
Okay, I've said I won't vote for anybody that don't support the issues that I believe are important. You left that piece off.
I agree with you. That's exactly what you said. So I interpreted that you weren't going to support Kamala because you referenced her, you referenced Angela to a degree, but that you definitely referenced Kamala as not having addressed your issues. That's what I interpreted.
Right, addressing the issues that I believe are important. And I'm not just Kamala.
And you said you weren't going to support her if she wasn't addressing your issues, but she is addressing your issues.
No,
I can't speak for you. I'm sorry.
You're speaking for me, and that's what I'm saying. And that you may not like what I'm saying, you may disagree, but you're not right, and I'm not right, and I'm not wrong, and you're not wrong. So we got to get out of this stuff that the way I feel means that everybody should feel that way. People vote as let me finish. Having spent 30 years in the field, when I go to talk to somebody about who they are voting for, I want to talk to them about what they think is important.
Absolutely.
And what they think is important to them, and that I have to respect that. So if I got a friend that wants to support Trump, they're neither right or wrong. That's their opinion. That's what they want to do. But the reason people voted for Marion Barry because they believed in Marion. If they don't believe in Kamala, that's on Kamala. I guarantee you all this stuff about sexism and all of that stuff would be out the window if Michelle Obama was running, because Michelle ain't Kamala. Kamala ain't Michelle. She is who she is. She made who she is, and that's what she is. So we got to, I'm probably the only person in Prince George's County that ever lost the election. Everybody else, well, the ticket beat me. No, you ran a dumb election. When I do an election, the first thing I go is get a bunch of lawyers because I know some stuff gonna happen. I know how the game works. So no.
But you know, Mr. Reed, if I could interject for a second, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't mean to misrepresent what you said. Matter of fact, what I meant to say so that our viewers, because all of us political pundits and analysts on this show are giving people a perspective that they have to understand. At some point, it is but when you have a group in a circle like this, it has to be something that the demographics of Black people, which this show is pointed towards, is giving some information and reference to the we aspect of things. Yes. And when the we aspect of things is overwhelmingly racist, we got to point that out.
But it's racist everywhere. I don't understand.
No, we got to draw the line somewhere. Where does this country go under the hands and the management of white folk? How far do they go before we, as a group, as Black people, say no further?
Absolutely.
Do we have to go back to we see each other stringing from the trees? Do we have to go back to the days of the riding of the night riders? Do we have to go back to the slave hunters? Or do we stand where we are and say, hey, this far and no further? It doesn't matter what the so-called issues are. The issue for me is survival. The issue to me is humanity. And there's nothing that trumps that, pardon the pun. Nothing. If we learn anything from the Jewish folks, is that there's no issue too small for them to fight. There's no word that you can say about Israel that they won't fight over. But for us, you can do anything to us. You can say anything. As long as there's one of us that can see we're okay as a people. That's BS. There have always been anecdotal. We survived. There were always individuals who survived in the worst of cases. There were black millionaires even before Reconstruction. There were black millionaires during slavery. But as a people, we were still 3/5 of a human being. Amen. As a people, we still maintain that our citizenship came with the 13th and 14th Amendment. That's wrong. Yes, understanding the views of the constituents is important, but if we are educated, if we know, then our primary responsibility is to educate, not just to accept what they say.
So that's our job. I gotta say this. What we need to, when you talk about going back to all of these generations, do we need to go back? Yes, we do need to go back. We need to go back to the era where older black people didn't see younger black people as the problem. Like right now, there is such a generational divide between your generation and the generation after mine that there is no way for us to train them up and bring them up, because what do they like? They're looking at the world through their eyes. Like when we're in control and we're voting on stuff like the educational curriculums and stuff like that. Who trained you?
And why do you think if they train you, they can't train others? Huh?
The generation before mine did not train me.
Well, who trained you?
I had to link up with Tiger Davis, Talmadge Branch.
We didn't tell Senator other people McFadden, to follow your path.
Generations that are like 2 generations before mine to learn what I know now.
Okay. Tiger Davis is still living.
Yes,
tell other people. Tell the rest of your generation to go talk to him. Tell the rest of your generation to go talk to him. He's still living. Hey, why your path can't be seen as an individual path? It's got to be. If you don't hold a door open, if you don't show somebody else how to get what you got, then what you doing here for? Just for yourself?
And there's people now that can mentor to those young people. They got to hook up with the right people.
That's right.
Now, are y'all saying that we're better off today than we were in the 60s and 70s?
Who said that?
I can tell you now, the school system that educated me in Cherry Hill is far better than the school system that's educating these kids that are in Cherry Hill today. In 1986, I had a chance, thank God for Talmadge Branch. When I ran Talmadge's campaign, he was working for Congressman Mitchell. So he used to call me up all the time and say, Irvin, I got to go pick the congressman up. You want to ride with us? So I used to spend a lot of time with him and Perrin and listening to Perrin Mitchell. And in 1986, he gave the most profound speech I'd ever heard in my life. Perrin said that if we aren't careful, and by we, he meant our elected officials, if we don't understand that we're no longer in a civil rights movement, we're in an economic movement. And if we're not careful, we're going to have something called a permanent underclass. Listen to what he said, this is in the 80s, a permanent underclass. And that's what we have today. You have kids running around here killing. You have kids that have no fear. Educational system is done. And we sitting here talking about going back. We've been going back since I was born. So we ain't looked after us. So if we're going to allow an election to pop up and things like with the crime, the number of black men and black women that are most rising, according to Doni, in our prison, we ain't addressing that like we're addressing abortion and all that, then yeah, I got an issue. You're going to talk to me about it. And if you cool with being middle class and don't worry about those that aren't middle class, because that's who I want to talk about them. I'm tired every time Kamala has a commercial and Obama, we're going to do this, the middle class, this, that, and the other. Nah, I mean, my man did something. That's why I like West. West did something about it. You know, he talked about it. So until we start talking about the least of us, then we're going to continue to go back. And the worst thing to happen to us in my lifetime, and again, I was born in 1957, was a crime bill. And that crime bill set us back. And that wasn't just Republicans, that was Republicans and Democrats. So I don't understand what the issue about going back, this, that, and the other. What I'm telling you now, when do we look after the least of us? The reason Marion could do what Marion could do, because he cared about everyone. Everyone prospered under him.
Andy, let me just jump in here.
This.
Andy, before you make your comment, I want you to touch on questions E, H, and F here in Baltimore City. So go ahead and make your comment.
So one thing that is very apparent from back when you were going to school, right? We've like the black scaffolding that kept up the black American community, that brought up people like you and other great leaders. That black scaffolding went away, whether it be with this whole equal rights or whatever the case may be. The moment we let them control our educational system, we were screwed. And that's pretty much how it is for every single black nation. You look at Burkina Faso. They had to get the French out of everything. Their educational system, their agricultural system, get them out of everything before that black nation could even start to begin to plan for prosperity. And we in America, as a black community, we have white people all up and through our lives, and they're over here perpetrating themselves to be allies. Oh, I stand with you. If you sit there and you listen to one of these guys talk about slavery, and it's like, bro, you would think that you have some kind of rearing in it. And I know your rearing is your family were the slave owners, sir. And so it's this world that we live in is a series of what's the word? Rope-a-dopes towards black people.
Andy, you and Mr. Reader both talk about education. You're both right, but they didn't take the education from us. We handed it to them. We said we declared that we were better off with integration. We declared that those black schools where only black teachers were inferior by law, and we applaud the decision that held that Brown v. Board of Education.
Or did we make a mistake? Were we just trying to change the past? Is that okay? Maybe this integration was not the solution, but what we had in the past was so jaded, was so twisted, so underfunded. We had to do something. So what we tried didn't work. So now what do we do?
Because, Donnie, we didn't change the people who are making the decisions. If you don't change the people who are making the decisions, if you don't change the mindset of the people, and when I say that, I don't mean just change from white to black, because there are plenty of black folk who put us in worse condition than any white man ever would think of. But you've got to change the people. You've got to change the mindset of the people who are making it. If you don't change who decides, you ain't changed nothing.
Okay, Andy, let's go to the harbor issue. David Bramble, I think that's question F. Be More News has endorsed voting yes for it. Your thoughts? And this is David Bramble's ability to transform the harbor place.
$500 million.
So I voted for it. I support it. I have that whole shutdown of Pratt Street, though, and the traffic and all of that. That gave me pause, but I was reassured because I'm like, man, this is really one of the first times that a black developer, black subcontractors are really going to have a shot at redeveloping a major project like that in Baltimore City. And I'll be damned. I'll take the traffic. I'll deal with the traffic. I don't really go around there anyway. Downtown ain't my city.
Did David Bramble come up against racist forces here in Baltimore, a 9-1 Democratic city?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, racist forces within and without the city. People from like there was power trying to stop this man from every which way.
And what David Bramble said on this show is that anyone could have opted to buy the Harbor Place project. No one did. And as soon as a black man stepped up, even though no one has said anything in 20 years, these racist elements in Baltimore come to the forefront. Shame on them.
And who had the loudest bullhorn?
Who's to say that they didn't have plans to buy it, but they were just waiting it out? Like
they
you
did
think
not
about
buy
it like
it.
this. Every time these young boys go downtown and do something crazy, the value of that property goes down. So yeah, they were just waiting this thing out for it to be dirt cheap, and then they come in. And then David Bramble came in and axed that plan.
Well, Danny, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, Martin O'Malley is the biggest proponent of it all. He's against it, and he's loud and clear about it. He just talked about it this morning. Martin
O'Malley is against what?
against the development of the Inner Harbor.
He's not even from Baltimore.
Well, I'm just saying he's speaking on it.
Really?
Yeah.
He's speaking on it. Yeah, I know he's not. I'm just saying
he came out against the question.
Yeah, he came out against the question. Wasn't that what we were talking about? So anyway,
Marty Marr, the man who locked up more Baltimoreans.
That's right. But he locked them up. But he also had support of a whole lot of black folks when he locked them up too. But But I tell you,
Sade Baton Rouge's boyfriend, according to the news.
Oh my! What? Sade Baton Rouge? You ever heard of her? Okay.
And he has what to say about the harbor?
Well, he's not. He's against it. The development of the Inner Harbor, especially by this black.
Come on, Marty Marr.
Okay.
500. I bet you if one of the major white developers was the one.
Yeah, $500 million of private. Public funding for this private developing company.
He has no credibility here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's why his wife didn't get elected.
How much did we give Under Armour to redevelop their headquarters?
Wait a second, Andy. You see, you know what? We gotta know what the heck we're talking about. The funding available through a TIF is not the same as $400 million spent in public taxpayer money.
That's the key thing right there.
It's two different things. Yeah. So let's not confuse people. And what I find objectionable is the process. Because it's not true that there was only one party that suggested doing something with Harbor Place. That is not true. The fact of the matter is there was supposed to have been a process by which there was competition for submitting proposals to do that. And at the same time, others were submitting proposals. The administration was working silently and privately and behind doors to affect because they'd already decided who they were going to give it to. Look, two wrongs don't make a right, Donnie. So private behind the door deals are not right. I don't care who's on what side of the equation. And
that should have the project, Mr. DeShield.
I have no idea because the process was never completed as it was built. There was no public process. There was no competitive process for determining who that should be. That's the whole point.
Was there any other?
There was a competitive process for medical cannabis, and guess what? The black people were not. We didn't rank.
Well,
so the thing is, this is a dirty game, and we as black people need to play just as dirty as them if we want to get played.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I could not disagree with you more because the system. What does the system do best, Andy? The system does what the system is. That's right. So we're going to do if we're going to do what the system does best, then we're going to lock up each other. And that is in fact what we're clamoring for when we talk about juvenile justice. Yes, nobody wants to be beat up by kids, but don't forget the fact that there are kids. They're not throwaway objects. They came out of the wombs of black women. So we got to figure out a way to save them, not just to throw them away and lock them up.
And how did they get that way? That's our responsibility.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We won't fund recreation centers. We want to fund Grand Prix for the Inner Harbor.
Right. Absolutely. That's right. That's right, Donnie. We have failed those youth, and this is the outcome of it. It's not.
Yeah. We also don't listen to the youth. Well, because they present solutions. Because I remember one time
everything is a partnership, Andy. Everything is a partnership. Everybody has a voice. And you got to listen to young people and older people too. You can't just have one-sided. It'll fail every time.
We triage which young people we want to listen to. Are we talking to the young people who are on the corners? No, we're talking to the young people who are doing great and they're in college and they got the grades, and those are the people we're talking to. We're not talking to the young people who.
We have turned our back on the young people in the inner city. That's
okay. I got to get this other question in. Point made. Do we reduce the Baltimore City Council, or is this a continuation of Question P, where Acorn under Mitch Klein took us from 6 3-member districts down to 14 single-member districts? Do we want to reduce our Baltimore City Council even further?
No. And here's why. Because at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is they're going to pile up all the voters.
Hold up, Andy.
Smith.
This was pushed forth
Smith.
by the guy at Sinclair Broadcasting, correct?
Yeah. Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
David Smith. Now,
Just
here's
like
the
the
thing.
term
When you're
limit
looking at it,
bill, just like the term
Smith.
limit bill, right?
Smith.
yes. The thing is, what David Smith is trying to do, what not that David Smith's about to do. I don't know this guy's political mens rea, but here's what we'll say. What will happen is that so there's only 30% of the white population in Baltimore City is black, but they're all concentrated. Now, if you slice the pie properly, you can water down the black vote in various districts. Because by just reducing the number of councilmen, because now instead of having a district of like, I don't know, let's say 50,000 or something like that, but the majority of them are black, we're gonna bump the number to 70,000 and flip the scale. Maybe this district is gonna be more Mexican. Maybe this district is gonna be more white.
It's a reduction of black political power.
It's about reducing black political power. Similar to what I wanted to ask you, Mr. Blount, about the Baltimore County thing. Now, with Izzy Patoka leading the charge, right? Here's what I know about Izzy's district. Izzy's district has all of these new black voters in there that made it that he had to actually fight a little bit to keep his seat, right? Freaking Fugit whooped him up all up and down the freaking the Liberty Road corridor, forcing Izzy to draw out new voters and draw in and mobilize white voters who don't generally come out to vote. Now, would this change in the map allow him to cut out the black people in
He's
his?
He's gonna reduce the voting percentage from 74% to 52%. What do you think about that? That's his plan. That's right there, tells it all. That's what that map does.
And that's why Julian Jones's voice was so necessary in
Absolutely. It should have been proactively dealt with 2 years ago, man.
Well, we haven't had any political leadership in the black community in Baltimore County.
There it is. Except for me.
That's right. That's right.
Tell you what I know.
Ella White Campbell died.
Well, what I'm saying to you, it's a whole delegation. Mr. DeShield, it's a whole new day in the 10th and 4th councilman and legislative districts. It's a tough thing. All these folks out here, I don't know them. I've been out here 27 years, and you've been out here a while too. You've seen the movement that's going on out here. What happened? We supposed to be like this. We supposed to be strategizing. We started a 10th district Democratic club. And Senator Brooks is the president of that. We haven't had a meeting in 2 years.
Okay, Baltimore City, question H.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
I didn't know it existed.
Question H.
Mr. I'll give you a call if you don't mind later on.
Okay, question H. I want to get this in before we run out of time. Question H puts the Baltimore City Police Department back under the leadership of Baltimore City. Mr. DeShield, is that good or bad?
I think it's good. I think it's good from an accountability point of view. That doesn't mean the outcome. That doesn't mean the police department will be any better, or that the relationship between the police department and the black community will be any different. But at least we don't have to go as far to complain.
Okay, Irvin Reed, final thoughts.
Going to be interesting. I believe Angela will win. And quite honestly, I have no idea nationally. I think it's going to be, again, based more so on the state of this country and how racist we really are.
We're very racist.
Andy Pierre, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I did support Mamala, voted for Mamala. Now, I am a little concerned about Angela because, I mean, the split ticket voters in Maryland are really going to be what decides her race. And I don't think she made a play for the split ticket voters to keep them from splitting the ticket. But at the end of the day, races are supposed to be a 50-50 chance, right? 50+1 wins you the race. And so right now, I think they're a dead heat 50-50. Let's see how what the swing looks like.
Danny Blount.
Is it this side, what side? Well, you see the sign behind me. I'm predicting a surprise in the national race. Kamala Harris will win. It's going to be a close race. And I also predict that Angela will win as well. The other thing in Baltimore County, real quick, is that also on the question is we're making our Office of Inspector General is on the ballot as well to make them part of the charter. It was a pilot program that Johnny O put together. So that's a question that's on there, and I support that question. I think everybody should be governed, should be looked at.
Attorney DeShield, will there be a revolution? Will it be televised or will it be on TikTok?
I'll be on Twitter.
Well, that a revolution requires an intentional act. Now, and at least to have a positive outcome. Sometimes revolution happen just because people find themselves they wake up in the middle of a storm and don't know how to get out of it. I believe that there is a revolution underway, actually. But unfortunately, too many of us are trying to sleep through it. It will not be televised. Gil Scott-Heron told the truth. It will not be, but you're going to walk out your front door one day and see it and not recognize what's going on. And I think that's happening in too many communities today.
Wow, this has been a hot show. Martin Luther King, I'll leave you with these words. The richer we become materially, the poorer we become morally and spiritually. We have learned to fly the air like birds and swim the seas like fish, but we have not learned the simple art of living together as brothers and sisters. What we have found on this show is that the people at the top of the ship are not communicating with the people at the bottom of the ship. And it's only in times like these that Prince George's County and Baltimore County and Baltimore City, the Black people in these jurisdictions come to realize that we can swing any election, but we have to be on the same page. My name's Donnie Glover.
100%.
Good morning, world.
And rest in peace, Quincy Jones.
Yeah, Q.
Oh man.
Was that real?
Yes.
Yeah.